Hey everyone, this is Neil with the Dastardly Gentleman podcast, and tonight we've got Frank. Say hi, Frank.
Hey baby, how's it going?
Hey buddy.
Hey, you doing?
Tonight we're going to talk about doomsday prepping. Frank, how's it going there over in Louisiana, underneath the water, under the sea?
I wish that I had invested in a canoe. You know?
I mean, it sounds like you kind of need like a whole fucking...
An arc?
An arc, perhaps, maybe a Carnival Cruise liner.
You know, in Louisiana, that'd have been great because then we could have had all the rain, and then if I'd have packed it full of beads and daiquiris, then I probably could have had more sex than Bacchus. You know? Been like floating down the street and then throwing beads at people who are trapped in their cars and stuff. But, you know, it's cool. They got to see titties right before they went out.
I mean, that sounds ideal.
I agree. And, you know, it is weird, though, because, like, I went to work and it wasn't there anymore. You know?
You mean work wasn't there anymore?
Yeah, I mean, like, because our office was, like, under, like, 3 feet of water. Like, it was up to the middle of the door at noon. And I just, okay. I mean, that's a thing, I guess.
So when you go outside, or at least look out the windows, is there water out there? Like
Everywhere. I mean, like, we have in this apartment complex, there's a little lake that even has a drainage pipe in it, and the drainage pipe can't keep up with it, and it normally, like, the bank slopes down like almost like 10-15 feet. It's like all the way almost flush with the surface.
You really can't go anywhere.
They have enacted a curfew from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So no, I literally can't go anywhere under penalty of tickets and police and guns and this is Louisiana, so they'd probably shoot me.
So is it like martial law?
It's pretty close. It was funny though because you know, as far as the prepping goes, it's super funny because we went to my wife and I went to Walmart because we're like, well, there's a chance we might get stuck because, you know, a lot of this is like kind of like water and being cut off because both highways in and out of Lafayette are cut off. They're both just underwater, so you can't get out. So we went to Walmart. We were going to buy a bunch of dry goods just in case, you know, we got stuck in there, and kind of reminiscent of the Katrina days, except for, you know, not like a tree coming through my window.
Right.
So we were kind of getting more prepped and ready with stuff that you can eat raw without electricity, or that you could have like a small fire for and whatever. But then there was like people. I'm not even kidding. The level of preparation was just like the level of preparation and survival knowledge was awful when we were at Walmart. Look, I know it's Walmart, but like, look, listen. So like, there was a guy there. I'm not even kidding. He was like, we need to get food in case we get trapped in the houses and the power goes out. And his shopping cart is fucking full of Hot Pockets. And like frozen pizzas and shit. And I'm like, how are you?
You get a microwave that
How are you going to do that? I mean,
he's got an acetylene torch in the garage.
I mean, he's gonna have to, you know? I mean, like, that's dumb. Like, I got like a 20-pound bag of rice, and I got like a bunch of cans of food, and, you know, I got like a few flats of water. I got plenty of stuff together. And because, you know, America, I've also got like my rifle and a whole bunch of ammo and stuff in case shit goes south, because I know that I was talking to one of the cops around here a couple of months ago, and he was talking about in Katrina, whenever everything got all cut off and whenever there was just like robbery and riot and theft and all that other kind of shit. So preparation, you know, this is short-term preparation. Like I know some people and their level of preparation. I mean, it makes me blush because they are scary prepped. But these are also the people that, like, you know, I've got a gun for every room in the house and a Bible for every room in the house. And you know, I'm not worried about dying because Jesus is on my side, but, you know, I'm ready to fucking kill you. Like, okay.
Okay.
It's terrifying.
Well, okay, so I'm guessing there's not a lot of looting going on right now.
No, I mean there's no looting because like the side streets are flooded,
Yeah.
but like a lot of but like the main roads aren't. They are not, and they're being patrolled.
Yeah.
So there's like no looting. For the most part, it's been pretty calm. People have been going through with kayaks and whatever, and helping people out of their homes and saving animals and shit like that.
Right.
So generally, right now, it's still sort of in the let's go along to get along and help people and be friendly.
You know, I did see a video before this podcast started of this lady and her dog in a soft top convertible, basically floating around.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of rescuers helping her out, but like, what possessed her to get in the vehicle and drive around? And basically, her vehicle's gone now. It's forever gone.
Oh yeah.
But she was 30 seconds from drowning and dying. But these guys were able to cut through the soft top and rescue her and her dog, which is awesome. But what the fuck? Why would you leave your house in your soft top convertible at a time like this?
I think it kind of goes back to the, you know, people aren't like their level of realistic expectations of like the well it can't happen to me
Yeah.
is a lot of what it is. Like well, and I think that that's something that's actually sort of like permeates through like all of American culture.
Yeah.
Being like like a plane goes down and everyone automatically assumes it's like some other part of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Malaysia Airlines has pretty much got the corner market on airplanes fucking going down. But like, but you hear like a plane going down and like it ends up being like in Pennsylvania, and you're like, oh no, and I don't know. There's a lot of that. I think it's not in my backyard, but more of it can actually happen to me.
Right.
And I think that's a lot of people, and I understand that to a certain degree because there's only like a certain amount that you can really prepare for. Like a friend of mine, for example, he's the kind of super prepping guy. He's the Doomsday prepper.
Sure.
And he says what you need to do, because I travel for a living and I go to different parts of the country, so I have to basically live pretty light. And he says, go get a storage unit on the job I'm on right now. He says, go get a storage unit and fill it up with 5 or 6 50-pound bags of rice. Get you 3 or 4 25-gallon drums of peanut butter, and like all of these like dry goods that'll last for an eternity. And he's like, you need to have a minimum of like 5,000 rounds for your rifle and about 10,000 rounds for your handgun. And I'm like, where the fuck do you think I'm going to put all that? I'm like, you want me to get a storage unit for this job? I'm only going to be here for like 2 years. I'm like, no, I've got like 2,000 rounds of each, and he doesn't think that's enough. And I'm like, I'm not buying all that. That's insane.
So do you find yourself on a regular basis, looking through the windows and checking your door, rifle in hand, waiting for looters?
I mean, recently, yes, actually. I mean, this community that I'm in is a particularly nice community, so I don't really think that's going to happen. But preparation is, you can never really be too careful. So, I mean, and it doesn't really cost me. I think seeing as how like I barely ever sleep anyway.
Well then,
but we do have floodlights outside. They're not mine. They're part of the complex. Shut up. We do have floodlights outside, so like even if somebody was trying to break into somebody's house, somebody will see you.
Sure.
Because we got there's a bunch of college kids and doctors and shit that live here, so the likelihood of somebody breaking into my house is super top tier levels of unlikely.
I mean, that makes sense. Any well lit area is less prone for break-in.
Mm-hmm. But so. I've had everybody here has been like not this complex, but everybody in this town has been just universally very nice. So I don't really see there probably going to be looting maybe ever.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a thing. Not in that situation anyways. Because as far as looting is concerned, you got to swim to your house.
Pretty much.
And then you got to steal what you need, and then you got to swim back. And not get caught or shot.
And that'd be a tricky proposition because everybody around here is definitely basically armed.
Yeah, that and you're really slow when you're swimming with a fucking 50-inch TV in your arms.
You got some guy standing above you going, hey, you better do the breaststroke, buddy. Pop, pop, pop. Oh, now you're bleeding. Pop, pop.
Put it in your fucking bass boat and it sinks because it's too heavy for your bass boat.
Yeah. You got a guy. I mean, I just imagine there are probably guys out there. Actually, no, it's probably the cops that are floating around right now, probably with spotlights looking for looters and shit, though. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you can't be too careful, but what are you going to do?
Shoot looters, apparently.
Obviously.
Obviously. Put that TV down, pop, pop.
All right, so as far as doomsday prepping is concerned, how about this? Minus the prepping part. What do you think? And I know there's a show called Doomsday Preppers, but what do you think? Minus, the flood you're enduring right now. What do you think is the most probable doomsday situation where massive amount of prepping will come in handy?
World economy collapse was the most likely.
Okay.
Then it kind of like tears down from natural disasters and shit like that.
Okay, so you think there's going to be some sort of natural disaster that causes the economy to collapse, and then it's just pure anarchy?
Yeah, Trump 2016.
I guess that's a natural disaster.
I mean, listen to him. He's basically a natural disaster. It's actually less like he's a natural disaster, and he's just a factual disaster.
It's a very possible 50-50. Actually, no, he's going to lose. But yes, very possible disaster.
I mean, okay, so Trump aside, it's just that the everything else is very unlikely to happen. I know that everyone's like, they're gonna throw the bomb and they're gonna, there's gonna be meteor and war and whatever. That's really unlikely. I know that I read a book. It's called 1 Second After. It talks about how America gets hit by electromagnetic pulses caused by nuclear weapons being detonated in the stratosphere. Sure. And it shuts off all the batteries and whatever, and America's woefully prepared for that, and 80% of the population dies off, and then it's the struggle in a semi-medieval society after that. That is also unlikely, just because of how you would actually have to fire it up over the United States and then let it go off. And, there's a bazillion, different anti-ballistics in every direction for the U.S., I guess my brother-in-law's in the Navy, and someone had made a comment to him about North Korea or Saudi Arabia, not Saudi Arabia, Iran shooting a nuke at the U.S. He goes, he's like, good luck. So they probably wouldn't be able to get it out of their own country,
right?
Because he's like, you got Japan that's just smothering North Korea, and they're the one of the world's largest navies and an American ally. And then you got Saudi Arabia, god damn it, Iran, one of those countries, it's terrible, I shouldn't say that. Trump 2016. That would just get shredded, along with the fact that they basically don't have a nuclear program anyway. So the likelihood of a nuclear fallout is exceptionally low.
Well, even if they did launch a nuke, they'd have to launch 20 nukes to cover all of the United States. I mean, it's not like you can fire a single nuke and take out the northeastern region of the continent over here and cause mass chaos. I mean, it's gonna suck a whole lot, just like the 9/11, but there's thousands of other square miles of country just fine.
Yeah, I mean, and the idea that we wouldn't be able to intercept a substantial portion of those on the way is extremely unrealistic.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're not necessarily, I don't know if we advertise it or not, but we have a lot of anti-ballistics, anti-missiles in place to stop that from even happening. So
Oh yeah.
So there would have to be a whole lot of, which, I mean, this kind of did happen recently, but there would have to be a whole lot of fail-safes failing.
Yes.
But I mean, did you hear about the Delta Airlines going down?
No.
Delta Airlines this last week had a massive power outage, or at least that's what they advertised, and it grounded 3,200 flights worldwide.
Wow.
Also, same day, Verizon had a massive outage on the central region of the country, which prompted people to think maybe this is a cyber terrorism attack. But it turned out that there was a fire at the data center in Delta, and that caused, the power outage because it just basically ate up all the fail-safes like there was nothing. So, I mean, something like that. Like, you'd have to hit something so hard and simultaneously in all the different fail-safes in order for it to actually go down. Because if you were to hit like a data center, for example, let's just say I want to take out the TRW building or something like that, or their data at least. Just like, the plot of Fight Club. Basically, you have to take out that data center, then you have to take out all the redundancies, and then you got to make sure that it's going to take them a little bit of time to recover again, because if they just if you don't hit them all simultaneously, the backups are going to back up to the other offsite places, and then business as usual within a few hours.
Right.
So for it to actually happen on a widespread scale, incredibly unlikely.
Very unlikely. Very unlikely.
I did watch a lot of the Doomsday Prepper shows, and Economy Crashing was one of the bigger ones that a lot of them prepared for. The other one that was a big deal was solar flare from the sun, obviously, because it's solar,
Right.
causing a massive EMP that would wipe out all electronics, whatever's facing the sun at the time.
Right.
And it would take weeks for them to recover. And in the meantime, for between that recovery time, the Doomsday Preppers were expecting massive anarchy because all security systems are down, and people are without power, so they're going to get desperate and do some rash things or whatever.
I don't think a couple of weeks, would really do it. I think that it would have to be substantially longer than that.
Yeah.
And I know that people have like this idea that whenever power is gone, that the prison doors are just gonna fly open,
Yeah.
and like you got maximum security, the prisons are just disgorging like the rogues gallery from Batman, and you've got like these super villains are gonna like they're just gonna speed by, and like your wife's pants are just gonna disintegrate, and like she's gonna just be like hung on a giant's belt, and he's gonna carry her around forever, and then you're never gonna see her again. But I mean, like, you have to realize that whenever the power gets cut in those places, they actually just lock. There's like mechanically, they're like, nope. So then, like, really, it could be one of the best things that ever happens, because we lose all the power, all maximum security just gets shut down, guards just go home.
And then
Let
the
the inmates
die.
just starve. I mean, they all starve to death. Come back in 2 months, guys.
That's kind of like what happened to that one dude in the stand.
Yeah,
He didn't die, but, because
Flag let him out.
Flag let him out. But, he was eating a rat in the meantime to survive.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about like in those 2 weeks, we could really quickly lower the overall national deficit, or at least expenditures, just by letting all the prisoners just kind of, and hey, doesn't cost us $65,000 a year to keep a guy on death row anymore because he's dead.
Then you got to pay to bury him.
Fuck that, mass graves. It's too many dead people. You'd have to burn them all.
Yeah, I agree.
You just burn a whole prison down with them still in it.
Might as well.
I mean, I'm just saying. Look, I'm just thinking out loud. Here's the thing that I think is, in the Doomsday, because I haven't seen it, in the Doomsday prepping, did they talk about the acquisition of gold and silver as currency?
They don't talk a whole lot about currency. They talk more about defense. They talk about more about
Like defense against the dark arts.
Leviosa.
It's a Leviosa.
No, they talk more about weapons, guns, martial arts, like that are really like these doomsday preppers legit get black belts and shit in martial arts because of doomsday. But no, how to store food, that sort of thing. I mean,
Canning.
yeah, they're not so much about how are we going to have money afterwards. They don't care about that because obviously when doomsday happens, whatever the case may be, currency is useless.
See, that's my thing. One of the guys that I know, he's like, you got to invest, you got to invest in gold, you got to invest in silver, and a lot of the field people down here feel that way. They're like, you're gonna need to get like as much gold and silver as you can because you're gonna need something to trade with. And I'm like, that legitimately makes no sense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because they're like, well, your dollar money isn't going to mean anything. And I'm like, dollar money is representative of a gold standard. So what difference does the gold make? And then like you either have gold in paper or you have gold in gold. There is no difference. I mean, it is just what it is. And so then you're like, I've got I've got a fistful of rubles or I've got a fistful of jewels, and that guy's like, but do you have bread?
Yeah.
So I mean, no. Well, get the fuck out.
Yeah, honestly, when it comes down to it, whatever currency you think you have, however rare it might be, and giving it an artificial value of some sort, none of it matters if you're fucking starving to death. Like if you're dead, your money is worthless, or whatever you want to call it is worthless. Food is, downright food, weapons, and shelter is downright the currency at that point.
Right. There's a game on Steam called Wasted. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, so there's a game on Steam called Wasted, and it has to do with being a post-apocalyptic. It's called a roguelike post-apocalyptic pub crawler. So what it is you go into these randomly generated dungeons, and then you do your loot and whatever. But it's all the loot is indicative of you going and finding different kinds of liquor brews that are down there and getting wasted, and different ones give you different effects. Then you have and you got all guns and whatever, and you pick up ammunition and you try to survive. The currency in the game is toilet paper, because their thing was because all they do all day is drink, and then they're all irradiated, and all the different drinks have radiation in them, so like it makes them sick, and they just shit everywhere. And so like one of the ladies, like your character asks why is toilet paper the currency, and she was like, look, you go a long time without it and you drink all this stuff and you basically crap all over yourself. It's just like you're gonna be really grateful whenever you have a fistful of toilet paper. And I was like, wow, she gets it. I mean, that's very, I appreciate that, because it's very similar to the notion that, what good does money do you? Because money is in value of things that you actually find value in, versus like what used to be valuable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you look at it like Fallout, for example.
That makes no sense. It's bottle caps.
Their currency is bottle caps. I mean, that is basically a standard put in place by their current society, saying, hey, this is worth something, it'll get you things. But somebody, or maybe a group of somebody's had to come together and say, hey, this is it, this is the currency now. And everybody had to say, okay. I mean, unless you get everybody on the same page with what currency is at that point, it's useless. It's nothing.
I always wanted, like in Fallout, where somebody's like, I've got all these bottle caps, and then like I wanted them to go somewhere where bottle caps didn't mean anything, and like you're like, I got bottle caps. The fuck am I supposed to do with that? And then they just kill you.
It's like, I'm looking for a firefight, I'm looking for a goat or like several chickens. Like all you got is fucking bottle caps.
Like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah. So okay, I mean the solar flare thing, that was another big thing that would end society as we know it. But as far as what doomsday preppers are actually prepping for, they all kind of fall along the same thing. Economy crashing, solar flare. There really wasn't much else other than like a World War III, I guess. Nuclear apocalypse. But every single person or group of people that were prepping they were prepping for if, they survived the initial incident. So if it were a solar flare, you're prepping for the fact that you didn't get incinerated by said solar flare,
Right.
or you didn't get, destroyed by the nuclear explosion that happened. So, step 1, survive the apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
Step 2, survive some more.
Yeah, live a little longer.
And then step 3, hopefully you didn't get radiation poisoning from the nuke.
There's I find it interesting that there's almost like this cult of survival, and there's so much there people dedicate so much time and energy and effort into the notion of just surviving that it almost seems like they've done very little actual living.
Right?
You know what I mean? Because like, what is it? All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Well,
Yeah.
if Jack is burying buses to make a superstructure and 5 feet, 5 to 10 feet underground, lining it with lead and filling it with like a bazillion pounds of dried beans and canned goods, Jack's going to be pretty fucking boring.
Right.
And Jack's life is going to overall sort of suck. And I mean, the amount of money that is involved in this is just surreal to me.
Oh, yeah.
Because like like I said, like I know people that they're like they've like right now in on this job they have about probably about 15,000 rounds of ammunition in their house right now. And but then like back home where they actually live, they've got like 12 or 15 AR-15s. They've got 180,000 rounds of ammo for their AR-15s. They've got like a bunch of shotguns. I mean, right now in his apartment, he's got 24 pistols, and I'm like, back home he's got like a couple 100,000 rounds for those, and it's like, that is so much.
I
And
wish
I'm like,
I.
what are you doing with that? I mean, like, I'm like, is it prep? He says yes, and I'm like, so like, this goes with the peanut butter and everything. Yeah, and I'm like, that's like so much money. I mean, like every one of like those handguns is like $500-600
Sure.
easy, and like oh man, I mean, the mind it just quails at the dollars that were spent.
I wish I had more hands so I could shoot all these guns simultaneously.
Did you ever watch Puppet Masters?
No.
The old one?
Uh-uh.
No. There's a puppet that's a cowboy, and he's got 6 arms and 6 revolvers. And he pop, 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 pop. He's awesome.
I mean, like, I get it. I mean, one of the Doomsday preppers that I watched was a group of people, and they literally had a bus and a place outside of town that they would go to, all ready to go, stocked, and like, underground shelter and all this good stuff. And they practice like, once a quarter to make sure that their bug out routine was solid. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that bus wasn't cheap. That entire place they're, paying taxes and rent on, I'm sure, or mortgage on. It's there solely for getting out when shit goes down. It's got to be a fortune for the upkeep alone on that shit.
Yeah. And it makes me, I mean, so like that was a whole group of people though? Like how many people would you say?
That was like 15.
So I mean like that would be easier to spread that kind of money like between 15 people.
Sure.
But like, like this guy, it's just him. So it's like he's just I don't know. Like I said, I mean like there was a point where I even look, I mean I like guns, but like dude, there's like you said, how many hands do you have? Even if you went full John Rambo and you had one gun in one hand or you can go Neo actually because Rambo would have had an M60 in both hands. But like if you can go one pistol in each hand, go like Neo, you can still only carry two.
Right.
And then like having all that extra ammo. What's the point of having the extra ammo then? If you're gonna fire but like these two guns and then just throw them and then pick up 2 other guns and fire those until like you're out of guns. I mean I don't know.
I mean, I guess I get it because what you're talking about is one-time altercation kind of thing. If you're like trying to plan for like 3 months out and you're gonna have one of those a day, yeah, okay, 15,000 rounds makes sense.
No, it does, but I mean, like, then, rather than having, like, 35 guns with varying ammo types and sizes and amounts, just have one gun with a ton of rounds.
Sure.
Because then
Unless
it's
that
like you.
unless that gun goes to shit, I mean, it's not bad to have a few backups, but not 24.
Yeah. I mean, like, my guns I bought because they won't go to shit. That's like, I mean, like, I can take my Glock outside and I can bury it in the mud and then come back in like a couple hours and put a couple hundred rounds through it.
Sure.
So that's why, like, I mean, like, if you feel like your gun, you feel like you're pop, pop, pop,
Sad face.
probably, you probably shouldn't have did that. You probably shouldn't have bothered buying that gun.
Sure. So, okay, what is your ideal setup for Doomsday? Like, if you were planning on surviving that shit, how would you go about? Like, okay, let me rephrase this. If you actually cared enough to prep for said Doomsday, what would you do to prep?
So, like, what would I do to prep, or like, what would be my ideal circumstances if the doomsday happened and I was out and about?
What would you do to prep?
You buy all. I mean, like, if I was in a place where I was stationary, I would buy like all the dry goods and like the jars. I mean, like the standard kind of stuff that they're talking about,
Sure.
and then have the guns and then the oils and whatever, and then you have your escape routes and your bug out bags already and whatever. So in case you need to leave, your food that doesn't ever expire. Buy a bunch of drugs in bulk, not like cocaine, but like like amoxicillin and painkillers and stuff like that. Buy them in bulk and then keep them in sealed plastic containers because I mean those will be like gold
Sure.
later on. Actually, they'd be more expensive than gold later on. And then, like, if said apocalypse happens and you survive and there's relative safety around you, a literal case of head for the hills. Know your area. Keep several books with you that, like, on the flora and fauna in the area, survival guides, etc. Shit like that. Smart stuff.
Speaking of prepping, so surviving is one thing. How about, living, entertainment, anything like that? What would you have in mind for that? Because boredom can kill a motherfucker.
Well, I mean, if you keep yourself preoccupied, you will basically never be bored because like survival is like an all day thing. I mean, like you don't wake up and go, I have nothing to do today. No, you have stuff to do today. If you wake up a day and you go, I have nothing to do today, it's because your legs are gone. And like, you're just gonna lay there and die, or you're in like stage 4 of typhoid fever, and you're like, I've got nothing to do today, but I am gonna go take a ride on this Clydesdale with the Budweiser truck, and we're gonna go through the sky. I mean, if you're at that point, things are not well for you. As far as like, let's see, how do I want to answer that? This is a very unfair question to ask me.
I guess because you're not normal.
I mean, I want to say like, I would be preoccupied and then I would just, I'd have board games and blah, blah, blah. The truth is I would probably wander down in from the hills and I'd probably hunt people.
You'd be a bandit.
I don't even think I'd be a bandit. I mean, like, I wouldn't even take a gun. I would straight up be like Leatherface. Like some guy down there, he's all like, "Oh, the power's out," Like, I sure hope that Mr. Clancy down the street brings up that.
So you'd be the villain.
Yeah, I mean, it would be one of those, like, I would spend like an entire week out in the bush making a device that when a switch is flipped, it just yanks a dude. Like I would just go break into his house and he's sleeping and like hook him through the gizzard, slap the thing and just drags him right out of his house out into the woods and hangs him from a tree. It'd be fantastic. But that's just me.
You're just gonna be Jigsaw.
No, because Jigsaw had a moral point. I just want to see people hurt.
You're not a nice person.
I'm not a nice person. I mean, look, stop. Look, okay, let's go. I retract all that. I would play board games. And I would always try to observe the letter of the law. Please don't send people to my house.
We're on a list now, Frank.
Neil made me do it. He thought it'd be funny.
JK, NSA.
Why would you make me say all that stuff? You can get me in trouble, Neil.
I'm sending this to the FBI.
Watch how they call me and they're like, "Look, we listen to your podcast." Oh no, my under arrest? No, no, no. We need your help to profile some people. Just to find out if they're like you or not.
We want to give you a job.
Yay! Job security. My other job's underwater. I might need a scuba tank to go to work on Monday.
Or you just, not go to work.
Here's the thing. This is like real talk for this area. They're talking about they on the news. They had this guy's like he's fishing, yay, and then they got these kids are out and they're playing in the rain and they're jumping in the water and they're swimming around and I'm like that is literally the worst thing you can do. And they got some people who are just like wading through the water and they're like I'm gonna go see what's on the blah blah and I'm like look guys this is fucking Louisiana alligators. Water moccasins, nutria rats are everywhere. I mean, like, these water moccasins are for real freaking out right now.
Right.
I mean, like, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna jump in the water. It'll be fun. Splash. Ah!
You're dead.
You're gonna die. I mean, you're gonna like flip around in that water so much, and then you're gonna get bit like a bazillion fucking times, and you're gonna deserve it.
Okay, let's just pretend like you don't meet any wildlife. The current could fucking change at any moment. Like,
right. Somebody down the way, like somebody down the way's house collapses, and now the water has somewhere to go. So now you get like, 50,000 gallons of water suddenly moving in one direction at a big old jump,
right.
To join the rest of the river. And you're like, this is fun.
And you're done. Yeah, it doesn't sound very smart at all, actually.
No, it's dumb as hell. I mean, it's like, I see him out there playing the water. I'm like, he's a bunch of dumb motherfuckers is what you is. I hope you die. I hope you die so the rest of these dumb motherfuckers don't die so they watch your stupid ass get eaten by a snake. I mean, like, it's not like, the alligators and crocodiles and bullshit that they got here are small. One of the guys that I work with here, he told me that he watched a guy. Man, Neil, I wonder about people. He watched a guy get killed by a crocodile here, or an alligator here.
Sure. Because
he was on his way to Walmart, which I feel like really kind of answers all of this story. But the guy, there's a 14-foot alligator in the middle of the highway. I mean, like that's dinosaur.
Sure.
That is a dinosaur.
Yeah, yeah.
And everyone's like, they're kind of standing off with it and whatever, but it's just kind of laying there because it's terrified.
Yeah.
It doesn't know what to do. It's just going to kind of hang out. This guy gets out of his car and he wants to go take a selfie with it.
Are you shitting me?
Fucking dead serious. And this guy, I mean, like, I asked him, I was like, are you fucking lying to me? And he says, no, I swear to God. And I was like, okay, all right, well, continue. So he goes to go take a selfie with it. And he gets up to this crocodile. And, like, crocodile's behind him. And let's take the selfie. And this thing, click, whips around and grabs him by the waist and just shakes him to pieces. And I was like, oh, God. Oh, my God. I was like, that is awesome.
That was super awesome because he deserved to die.
He did. I mean, unfortunately, that alligator also died.
Well,
I mean, which I think is really unfair, but at the same time, I get it. Because they do say people taste the best. So, if an animal eats a people, then he's gonna want a people forever.
Yeah, fair enough.
Now you got a 14-foot alligator going. Like, look at like your kids swimming like.
I need more of this.
Did you ever watch Lake Placid?
No.
Well, I'm good for you because it's terrible, but it's like that.
Yeah.
Like that alligator was like 45 feet long. That was a literal dinosaur.
God damn, people are stupid as shit.
I just don't. I can't believe. I really want to believe him, and honestly, to a lot of degrees, I do because he's never really lied to me. But like here, here in my heart, I'm like, no, why? Why would you do that?
It presented an opportunity for a stupid ass person to die,
Yeah.
and he happily obliged. Apparently, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and wish death on anybody, but
I will.
you dumb as hell. You do
You
something stupid.
you one dumb motherfucker and you got eated and you deserved every moment of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just want to know what possesses somebody to be oh my god, that's a 600-pound piece of 3 million-year-old unchanged by evolution killing machine. It has the pounds per square inch to crush steel. I'm gonna go take a picture with it.
Post that shit on Facebook.
Oh, my Facebook feed is gonna light up.
Okay, so like, even if you succeeded, you're still dumb as hell, and everybody's gonna be like, "Man, you're dumb as hell." Why would you do that?
I don't know. Like if there's anybody really thinks that they could actually move fast enough to get the fuck away from it. I mean, really, it's like those things are ultra levels fast. So
That and
I just kind of.
you're in its environment.
Well, the highway isn't really its environment.
Water is his environment.
Well, yeah, I know, but this was just an alligator that wandered out of the water.
Oh, okay. I thought it was flooding.
Yeah, no, it's not right now.
No, okay.
No, I mean, if an alligator died, if somebody got eaten by an alligator right now with all the news crews that are around here, you would know. You would hear about it. The shit would be everywhere.
True.
The state of emergency would have lost its mind. Like, the state of emergency would have been more of an emergency.
It's slightly more of an emergency now.
Yeah, alligators are eating people. Shields up, red alert.
Yeah.
It's awful. And I don't know. I feel watching some people today at Walmart just blows my mind. Because, like, you either had people who were in there and that were just sort of, like, wandering around. And then we're mad because, like, Burger King wasn't open and McDonald's wasn't open. Like, we tried to go there just because, like, I didn't want to cook anything and I wanted to just have, like, all this food. But, like, whenever they were closed, I was like, okay, that makes sense. Because I know that whenever I was working at Domino's, even whenever, like, it was, like, dangerous to work outside, we were required to be open. Like, it didn't give a fuck if, like, there was something. Like, there could have been a tornado outside. If you closed the store, you lost your job. I was told that verbatim by my boss. So, okay. I mean, I didn't really care that much. I'd have left anyway. But the point of the fact is that, like, they were closed, and I'm fine with that. That's okay. There are people at Walmart that were mad as hell that, like, the subway in Walmart wasn't open. And I'm like, have you been the fuck outside? I mean, like, what did you expect? Of course they didn't come in. You know how I got here? I have a fucking SUV. I mean, like, if they have, like, a little compact, I mean, they might as well roll the windows down and just sitting there trying to paddle it. I mean, look, this is a fucking Oregon Trail. You don't cock the wagon and float across. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oregon Trail. I think that, like, if anyone is ever going to be prepared at any level of doomsday prepping, the Oregon Trail would be the way to go. Just to be like, because you need boxes of bullets, you need food, you need spare wagon parts, you need spare clothes. That's like introductory level of preparation.
Sure. I mean, I like when you break it down, not minus the wagon and oxen and shit. When you break it down, that's basic survival instincts there. I mean, you want to have some sort of tool to get food. Gun is the way, most likely.
Get your gun.
Get your gun. I mean, knife, a means to make fire. I mean,
yeah.
And
you need an oxen.
Who's gonna find oxen at a time like this?
I'll try really hard. I can get some horses.
Maybe. I mean, you can probably find some around here. That's for sure. Well, Frank, I hope you survive the floods.
Well, I mean, I do too. I mean, it stopped raining about a half hour ago.
Well, that's good. I don't want to have to become the dastardly gentleman.
Right? We're supposed to get 48 inches of rain tonight.
That's ridiculous.
I agree.
Meanwhile, over here, low 70s and breezy.
It's supposedly this storm is moving north, so you let me know how it is in a couple of days.
I will do that.
If I'm still alive.
Yeah. I mean, we did build you a sweet ass computer.
You know, I keep thinking about it too, because I'm like, if it starts to flood, this will be the first thing I probably put like into my trailer.
Nah, man, you gotta line it with plastic and hold it above your head as you're wading through the water.
You know, I probably would. You know, because I mean, I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I don't want it at all. It'd be terrible.
Well, hopefully it doesn't come to that.
I don't think it's going to.
Well, that's the podcast, folks. Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, go ahead and rate, comment, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and we'll have a new one out soon. But until then, we'll see you later.